Hi and welcome everybody to episode 57 of the Talk is Cheap show. I want to start off by wishing you a happy, prosperous and above all healthy new year. Today's show is brought to you in conjunction with the Flick app, so please download the app where you can offer your comments on the show, not just on this show, but on all other AFTV shows. Talking of which, we've got another great show lined up for you today. But before we go any further, it is my pleasure, honor, and not to mention duty to welcome Mr. Curtis Shaw from Curtis Shaw TV in the house. What are you saying, bro?
Yeah, what's happening, bro? Good to be here. Happy New Year to everyone. You know, tier 4 lockdown, but at least Arsenal are getting 3 points again, so we can smile about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very difficult last week or so, hasn't it?
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Oh, just same old, man. Obviously, the part of the country we've been in tier 4 for a little while, so everyone else is kind of going into it now. So it's just, you know, I'm kind of used to it now. You know, you adjust to it, don't you?
Yeah, how did you spend your Christmas, bro?
No, just with the family, man. Just chilling, films, food. You know how it is, man. Just chilling, laid back.
Any plans for the new year?
Well, unless there's some backstreet yard rave party going on, you know. But nah, not too much going on, you know.
Yeah, man. Well, I've got to keep it real, man. Unfortunately, we've had a little outbreak in the AFTV office of COVID and suspected COVID. 1 or 2 people went down with it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say that they seem to be making a full recovery. So to all those people concerned, wishing them a full and speedy recovery. Myself, I've taken a test. I've not been too well for a little while now. I've taken the test and I'm awaiting results. And in the meantime, I've been self-isolating. So, you know, I mean, if my voice sounds a little bit sketchy, then forgive me. But yeah, I'm hopeful that I'll be okay. But, you know, this new strain that's going around, man, it's, well, it's pretty egregious, isn't it? So, yeah, we just have to hope that everything works out well, man. But I'm glad that you're well and your family's well, man, anyway.
Yeah, I'm blessed, bro.
Yeah. And I guess that with the pandemic and stuff, that's been the major talking point, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Last week, the amount of COVID tests, positive tests going around football has risen. We've had 2 Premier League games called off at fairly short notice. First, we had the Man City Everton game. And then more recently, we had the Tottenham Fulham game. I'm aware that there's been discussions, well, maybe not so much discussions, but people have been saying that maybe there ought to be a circuit break. I know one of the Premier League managers, Sam Allardyce, West Brom, he's an advocate of that. I'm not. I'm thinking that the Premier League, they're saying that at this stage anyway, they're not going to be pursuing that. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
You know what? It's very difficult to say because, you know, from a medical perspective, does that help them? Do you know what? I don't know enough about it. I can see the majority of the managers seem to be saying it's a waste of time and they've got enough testing in place to control it to the best of their ability. So I'm not really in a position to say. I think, you know, if they feel it's going to help, then I understand it. But if they don't think it's going to have much of an effect, then, you know, maybe they've got to keep going. I'm not sure. It's a tricky one, very tricky one.
It is. Yeah. I guess what they'll have to do is monitor the situation.
Yeah.
Obviously, if the situation does start to get out of control, then they might have to revise their thoughts. But at the moment, anyway, I'm pleased that the Premier League are sticking with their previous policy. I'm hearing that they're about to up the testing and up the ante in terms of the way they're dealing with things. So make them continue, and hopefully we can get through this, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a very crucial time for the country. I'm just hoping that we can all stick together and get through this in one piece, man. Really. Yeah. But moving on then, couple of news and notes, apart from the old corona thing, that's always seems to be with us. That's a real negative. But
yeah,
I just wanted to say a rise to Lewis Hamilton. Found out today. Lewis Hamilton, Arsenal fan. I know he watches AFTV as well from time to time.
Yeah.
I got the news this morning. I was made up for him, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
This was great news for me anyway. I mean, I do enjoy watching the Formula One. In recent years, Lewis Hamilton's become like the iconic figure. And it's not just of the way he drives the cars and wins the races, it's how he conducts himself off the track as well, and then his human rights initiatives and all the rest of it. So I was really pleased for him. What about yourself, bro?
Bruv, I'm delighted for him. It's a very proud moment, and I think, well deserved. One of the best Formula One drivers of all time. And I think, like you said, the way he conducts himself away from the track as well is amazing. I have to admit, I cheat a little bit when it comes to the Formula One racing. I'm one of them. I'll turn it on when there's like 40 minutes to go, 10 laps left. I haven't got a full race in me, but I do watch, especially the last like 10 laps or so. But incredible and well deserved, man. I'm glad he's been acknowledged, because I think a lot of people downplay Formula One a little bit. It's a very difficult sport to get into, man, and very dangerous as well.
Yeah, you're right about that last point. I mean, I have to say that hitherto I wasn't the biggest fan of Formula One, but in recent years I've got into it, and I have to say it's a lot of that is down to him.
Yeah,
I said he's become a bit of an icon, so I've followed him, followed his progress, and yeah, man, he's been spectacular. And like you said, the way he conducts himself off the track as well, it's great news, man. And like I said, big Arsenal fan. I know in the past he's talked about watching AFTV, so yeah, man, we're all made up for him, man. We're all very good.
man, big up.
Okay, and the other thing I was going to mention was we're just around the corner from the transfer window, opening up again in January.
Finally.
We're finding out that it's highly likely that Sead Kolasinac could be the first out the door. There's talks of him.
Yes, finally. Oh my God. Oh.
Yeah, there's talks that he could be on his way to Schalke. It looks like it's going to happen, even though yet Mikel Arteta hasn't confirmed that. But to all intents and purposes, it looks like it's going to be happening. And quite predictably, I note that there's a real lack of sadness from you there. You know what I mean?
Listen, let me say one thing. I'll start before I drop a little joke in or anything. He's a full-blooded, fully committed player. I won't question that. Right? He's always given his all, especially when Ozil was under pressure. You know what I mean? But listen, let's be honest. He's been a flop, man. We got him on a free 120 grand a week. We got bumped big time, man. And, he's saw out the majority of that contract. I see he's getting a lot of praise because I think he's taken a pay cut in order to get this loan deal done. I mean, look,
that's commendable.
It's commendable because, look, most footballers would just sit there and pick up full wage and say, I'm not that bothered about playing football. So in that sense, yeah, cool. But, I'm glad to get him out the door. No disrespect, to get players in, we've got to get players out. Arteta said in the press conference that a lot of these transfers should have been dealt with in the summer. So I actually think we're going to have a very active January window. I think you'll see a lot of play, like 3 or 4 in and 3 or 4 out, possibly. So I think it'll be a busy window.
Yeah, I would agree with it. Although I would say I'm probably erring towards more players going out than coming in, to be honest.
Yeah.
If they are coming in, they're likely to be loan deals.
Yeah.
I think his remit will probably be to try and trim the squad as much as possible.
Yeah.
And that will involve getting rid of a lot of the players who haven't featured much, particularly recently. And like you said previously, are on big wages. So I think Kolasinac could be the first of a few.
Yeah, hopefully.
We'll watch that in coming weeks and see how that goes. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on again then. A segment of the show which we conduct every week. It's to look back at Arsenal's previous games. There's been 2 games since the last show. The first of which was the Boxing Day game against Chelsea. Big game, and it proved fortuitous, man. Very good 3-1 win. What was your thoughts on that, Rob? Just briefly.
I mean, listen, I was shocked. I have to admit, I was shocked. In the prediction last week, I predicted we'd lose 2-1, and that's how I felt at the time, I've got to be honest. But I think a culmination of 2 things. We spoke about it off camera, but I think Chelsea were overconfident. I think they thought they would just come and roll us over. And I think we surprised them a little bit, because I think with that energy, especially of the young players, we caught them off guard. I think it was vital to score that first goal. We got the first goal, and you know, it was a great win in the end. But, you know, we were still that only team that can be 3-0 up and somehow you nearly throw the game away. But listen, we got it done in the end. And I think Arteta shifted some of that pressure onto Lampard, because Lampard's been getting hammered for the past week now. So it was a great win. Great win.
It's funny how that goes in football, isn't it? I mean, prior to that game, the pressure was very much on Arteta. Immediately following the game, that pressure, like you said quite correctly, seemed to switch on Lampard. But I would offer this observation, and I'm endorsing what you were saying, is that when I saw Chelsea, I noticed this in the warm-up. I was watching some of their players in the warm-up, and they were like high-fiving and smiling at each other, and they seemed to be having a lot of fun. And it did cross my mind at the time. I'm thinking, you know what? These guys seem very confident to the point of overconfident and complacency. Yeah. And so it turned out when the game started, man, I think they were surprised that Arsenal came at them a little bit, and I think that they weren't totally prepared for it. Yeah. And I think if you listen to Frank Lampard's post-match comments, he was very disappointed in the attitude of his team. Yeah. And I would endorse that, man. I thought that Chelsea had a certain arrogance, certain complacency, and they were made to pay for it on the day. Yeah. I was quite surprised at how poor they were, if I'm being honest. And I would say as much as they played well, Chelsea actually contributed to their own downfall with their lack of mental preparation and, you know, I mean, the way they approached the game. I thought they were quite poor. But listen, man, I was happy for the win.
Of course.
3-1. In a way, the monkey's kind of off your back a little bit. And then we're on our way to play Brighton, second game. Again, good result. A 1-0 win. The first half, I have to say, man, I wasn't overly impressed with that, because it's funny, after the Chelsea game, I was cautioning people around me. I was saying, listen, man, don't get too overconfident, because yes, it was a good win against Chelsea, but I think it's fair to say that Chelsea were not at the races, especially Brighton. Even though Brighton were coming into that game in a bit of a poor run of form, I think they hadn't won at home in the calendar year, and I think the last time they did was when they played us. So I was a little bit nervous about going into that game. And in that first half, I think I was proved right to be nervous, because I thought we were poor. In fact, Brighton were the better team. And I think if they had a striker worthy of the name, we could have easily found ourselves a couple of goals down. But they did improve commensurately in the second half. We got the win. And so we're, 2 wins in 2, man. What was your thoughts on it, Kurt?
I mean, first of all, I think the trophy parade's this weekend, isn't it? Back-to-back wins.
Yeah, I think I messaged you after the game, didn't I? And I said, yeah, when's the ticker tape parade? Because some of these guys...
Yeah, man, when's the bus going around the Emirates? Yeah. We won 2 games. But nah, in all seriousness, I think the midfield is what was costing us, You look at that midfield against Brighton, and Xhaka and El Neni as a pivot it's not really going to take you anywhere. They're both capable of having a half-decent performance here and there. There was one moment in that game, Laurie, where, I streamed the game as well, and a lot of fans were criticising Aubameyang. It was that moment in the first half where Aubameyang peels off the central defender, makes a great run. Granit Xhaka's staring straight at him. It's not as if he can't see him. And instead of playing the ball, he turns backwards and gives it to Hector Bellerin, and you're thinking, that's potentially a goal you've just cost Aubameyang there, because you're not brave enough to play the ball to it. So, sometimes it's easy to criticize a striker, but if they're not giving him the ball when he's making the movement, what can he do, Yeah. Ultimately, he should have probably scored in the second half, but I thought...
Keep your powder dry.
Yeah, go on. Yeah. Don't want to get
into that in a bit later. But yeah, if we go back to those 2 games then, the 2 wins.
Yeah.
So 2 in 2. First back-to-back win since September. We got the young guys really doing well. Saka, Martinelli, Emil Smith-Rowe. Excellent performances. Arteta drinking at the fountain of youth. And the energy and enthusiasm of the young players was really something to behold. So I somewhat feel that the feel-good factor is slowly returning. But there have been 1 or 2 negatives as well. And that's what we're going to focus on. When I say focus on negatives, I want to talk about some of the talking points arising out of the last couple of games. And like I said, by and large, it's been mostly positive. And that's sparked by the young players. But there has been a lot of discussion around Aubameyang. His goal drought is going on. He's only got the 3 goals this season. Lacazette scored a very good goal against Brighton when he come on. But a lot of people are looking at Aubameyang and saying, well, it's just not happening for him at the moment, man. And unbelievably, some people are openly talking about the great man being dropped. Now, I'm going to put my hands up straight away and say, listen, man, I'm Team Auba all day long. So I want to make it known at the outset that I don't agree with that at all. But you can't help but ignore, you can't ignore some of the noises that the fans are making. I know White Yardie, for example, on AFTV, he's been saying for a while now that Aubameyang should be dropped. And that seems to be a growing thought amongst a lot of the fans, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to get your thoughts, man, on that. Aubameyang, is it time for the great man to be dropped or rested? What's your thought?
Well, I'm going to approach this a little bit different. You said they're potentially a negative. I actually think this is a positive. I'll tell you why. Because I think it's very dangerous when you rely on one player to score the goals for you, which I think Arsenal have done for the last 2 years. I think now we've found a different way of beating teams and scoring against teams. And when you've got 3 players with the pace and energy of Smith Rowe, Martinelli and Saka, what you need in front of them is somebody who's very good at linking play, sort of the way Firmino does for Liverpool with Salah and Mane. Lacazette is the best striker at Arsenal as a link-up striker. There's no doubt about it. With his back to goal, he's better than Aubameyang. I'm not turning on Aubameyang. I still think he's probably our best player, certainly our best striker. But with those 3, I'm not sure Aubameyang works as well. You've got to get the ball quickly to Aubameyang. You've got to get him running and facing the goal. We're not very good at that. We don't create opportunities quickly. So I think at the moment, with those 3 players behind, I think Aubameyang needs to go on the bench. I think, I think he needs to be on the bench for a little bit. I think, how strong does that make us look if we're in games and you can actually bring Aubameyang on? Think about them games, no disrespect, where we've needed a goal and Eddie's coming and we're like, well, nothing's going to change. You're bringing Aubameyang on with 20, 30 minutes to go. You know what I mean? They're against tired defenders as well. That gives you a great option. And also, it gives him that little bit of hunger again that, listen, you are a great player. We're not going to forget what you've done for the club. But you've got to, you're not guaranteed a place in this team. And at big clubs, that's what big clubs do. So I think Aubameyang should be on the bench at the moment. And I think it's a positive thing for the football club.
You know what, bro? I must say I'm genuinely surprised to hear you say that, bro. You know what I mean? I really am. So, it looks like this drop of Aubameyang is going around faster than the new variant of the virus. You know what I mean? Because, you know what I mean? Like I said, I've heard a few people in recent days say that, and I couldn't quite get my head around it. But if I've got the likes of people like you saying that, man, I'm definitely taking it seriously. But listen, man, my view has always been this. Aubameyang is the best striker in the club, best player at the club. Yeah. He's our talisman. He's our iconic figure. He's our captain. And I'm saying to guys who are criticizing Aubameyang and talking about dropping him and so, don't forget what this guy's done, man. Look at the season. Listen, let's look at some Aubameyang receipts, man. I mean, he joined the club January 2018. Yeah, so that was a truncated season for him, but he got 10 goals there. The next 2 seasons, 2018-19 and 2019-20, he's got 22 goals in each season. One other season, he won the Golden Boot. You know what I mean? The guy's goal scoring record's been phenomenal. First Arsenal striker to 50 goals. Instrumental in winning the FA Cup for us. And of course, the Charity Shield. You know, great performances. And he achieved those at a time when we were not playing well. You know what I mean? No one else in the team was scoring. So to kind of start criticizing him now and people saying drop him, don't you think that's a bit harsh? I mean, I've always been a big advocate of the term class is permanent, form is temporary. So yes, we all know he's going for a bit of a bad patch at the moment. He's only got the 3 goals. But I don't subscribe to the view that he's not putting the shift in. I think that's
I think he
a very easy and lazy thing to say when someone's going through a hard time.
Yeah.
I just think he's struggling with his game a bit. I think his confidence is not quite there. I think the team's not playing well well as well, although we have picked up in the last 2 games. So I think it's a bit unfair to just put it all on his back, man. You know what I mean?
You know what? Let me just go in a little bit more detail with it. As I'm not taking the angle that some people are taking is like, drop him, get rid of him, he's not good enough. I'm not saying that for 1 second. I still think he's our best player. What I'm saying is, I don't want to change those 3 youngsters. I want Martinelli for the pressing. I want Smith Rowe for the creativity, and Saka's just been on fire. I want those 3 in the team. I wouldn't pick Aubameyang on the left ahead of Martinelli at the moment. I really wouldn't. And through the middle, I don't think he would link up with those 3 as good as Lacazette does. And I think that Aubameyang is suffering this season because we're not getting the ball to him quick enough. I think in the last 2 seasons, we've always got the ball to him high up the pitch. There's certain players like Alexis and players like that. You can just give them the ball. You haven't even got to create much. They pull things out the hat. Aubameyang is not that player. He doesn't get a ball, beat 3 or 4 and whip it in the top corner. He relies on service. We're so slow at the moment at creating chances for him that we're not getting the best out of him. So it's kind of the system and the players around him is the reason that I would pull him out of the team.
But
I think... Yeah, go on.
It's incumbent upon the manager to set the team out in a way that you get your best player, as you said and I've said, you get your best player on the ball, that you provide him with those opportunities, because we know he's a world-class striker when he's on form. Okay,
Yeah.
no, and it's beyond dispute that he's not having a good season. He's lacking in confidence. I mean, there was a chance the other day in the Brighton game, I'm sure you saw it, where it was one of those moments where he had the ball, he cut back in, and you're thinking, yeah, man, it's going to be in the top corner, and he skewed it wide. And it's quite a poor finish as well.
Yeah.
On target. And I looked at that and I thought that is indicative of somebody that's not on form, because we've seen him do that many, many times. So for him to not even hit the target on this occasion tells you that there's something going on in his mind there. He's not confident. There's no real conviction. But I do feel that if he continues to be played, he'll literally play himself back into form. The trouble that
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question then, right? If you're going to play Aubameyang now, what position are you playing him, and who are you dropping then out of that 4? You playing him on the left or through the middle?
Well, I think in the, hitherto we've played him in either position. I kind of liked him through the middle. I mean, I know it's only been tried once this season, isn't it?
Yeah,
it didn't work. And then I think in the next game he went back out on the left, and he did actually score in that game. So he hasn't really been given a proper run through the middle.
Yeah.
I just think as well that some of our fans are very fickle, because listen, man, I'm a big fan of Lacazette as well, and he's got 3 and 3. He's playing well, and he looks like somebody that's confident. And again, if you look at the way he took that goal against Brighton,
Brilliant.
The first touch, boom, that is the sign of a guy that's in form. But listen, man, I have to say, as much as I love Laka, if it's down to Lacazette and Aubameyang, I've got to go with Auba, man, all day long.
Wow. I get what you're saying. And the
best season the man's ever had. And here we are as Arsenal fans saying, look, go get him out of the team. I find it crazy.
I think the thing is, you know, Lacazette's one of them players as well. Probably a month ago, a lot of fans would have said, we'll get rid of him at the end of the season. You know, he's only got a year left. But he's played his way back into the team. You know, he scored 3 in the last 3 games, and I just don't think he should be dropped. You know, he scored 3 and 3 at the start and got dropped, and Arteta kind of killed his confidence. He was trying to play Eddie. Everyone's like, what's he doing? He just scored against Man City. He scored against Chelsea. He was brilliant in that Chelsea game. Comes on against Brighton, scores after, 30 seconds? I just think you're sending a terrible message out to people. If Lacazette keeps coming in doing the business and we go, no, we have to play Aubameyang over you, I think you got to show this guy, listen, Auba, as much as we love you and appreciate what you've done, this is a big, big football club. You've got no divine right to be in this team. You're not Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo. You know what I mean? You are a great player, but there's no guarantees. Arsenal is bigger than any player. And listen, I think he's a great player. His future's still at the club. I'm sure he'll fight his way back into the team, because I think he scores that chance that you mentioned against Brighton if he'd played a few more games. He was a little bit rusty, I think.
Mm.
But I think for this game coming up at the weekend, Lacazette starts for me with the 3 young bucks behind him. I'm telling you, he's earned it.
Well, you know what? You do make a good case. You make a cogent argument, but I just
You don't agree with it.
Maybe my fanboyism has been exposed, because you know what is funny as well, because this time last season it would seem inconceivable for us having this conversation, because I remember many times me and you on this very same show, we'd be talking about, if it wasn't for Aubameyang, we would probably be in the lower regions of the table, possibly fighting against relegation.
Yeah.
And in, you know, a couple of games ago, we were just that. Listen, man, I'm made up that we've got the 2 wins back to back, and that, you know what I mean, fortunes seem to be changing and the feel-good factor is coming back. But I just caution people against abandoning the great man yet, man. I think we need to show some faith in him, man. He deserves that. I really do. I don't want to see him cast aside yet. And I think it's also got implications for the rest of the team, because like I said, man, he's the talisman, he's the iconic figure, he's the captain. I mean, what happens there? I mean, I know
Hector Bellerin will have the armband.
Yeah, I know Hector, you know what I mean? Hector Bellerin will probably won't be too displeased, because I know how much he covets that captaincy. But yeah, on a more serious note, how do you think it's going to affect the rest of the team with a guy like Aubameyang on the bench? Because listen, I would imagine that Aubameyang, he's like a lot of top players, he's got an ego. And I think if he's dropped from the team, it won't be long, man, before, you know what I mean, that happy, smiley face that we always see him, that, you know, disposition will probably be replaced by a more sullen disposition, someone who's moody and ultimately may want out. So
listen, I look at it like this, Laurie. I remember,
extremely carefully.
You do have to do it carefully, but I think ultimately, I remember when Pep came to Man City and he dropped Aguero for Jesus, and he was talking about Aguero needs to find a way of playing in my system. I need a striker that presses a bit more, you know, links up play. And Aguero had to adjust his game. And Aguero is, you know, a legend of the Premier League, one of the best strikers that's played in the Prem. Even he had to adjust his game to fit into that system. So I think Aubameyang's got to understand we're playing a different way now. You know, we're playing with these 3 players. You've got to be able to link up with them guys. I'm not saying he can't, but Lacazette has proved in those few games he is really good at that. And I think when you put movement and energy around Lacazette, you see a different player. And I think most people would agree that Lacazette has got more to his game than Aubameyang, although I believe Aubameyang is a better goal scorer than Lacazette. So, look, like I said, I think it's a positive, because I hate it when you rely on one player. I remember when Van Persie and, you know, Sanchez, I only used to feel like if they didn't score, we weren't going to score. And I felt like that with Aubameyang. So I'm glad Lacazette's scoring, Martinelli's in the team. If Aubameyang comes off the bench, scores, you're giving Arteta good problems to have. So listen, it may appear negative to Aubameyang, but I think it's a positive for the football club overall.
You are right in that regard, because I remember having conversations with fans from other clubs, and they would frequently say Arsenal are a one-man team. So you're saying now, if we can get goals from other players and other areas of the pitch, then obviously that's a positive. But I still can't in my own mind Arsenal lining up and Aubameyang not being in the team, man. I just I guess my fanboyism is coming out a little bit here, but I do genuinely believe, I'm not just saying this, I do genuinely believe that he's only a couple of games away from, you know, scoring a couple of goals and getting his form back. The work rate is there. I think some of the stuff that's been said online and other places about him not putting in the shifts, I think that's ridiculous. There have been some games where he hasn't seen the ball. You know what I mean? We've spoken ad nauseum on this show about the midfield not providing the service to the strikers. Okay, in more recent games, young guys have come in, and that infectious energy we talked about has led to better performances and stuff. But we're still deficient, really, aren't we, in terms of goals coming from the midfield? And so, like I said, and then if you're not providing strikers with the necessary service, then we're not going to see the goals, man. You know what I mean?
I mean, the interesting thing is, Laurie, he might actually play against West Brom because you look, Martinelli's been out for 6 months. He's just come back. He's played a few games in a short space of time. He came off against Brighton, looked a little bit tired towards the end of that game as well. So maybe Arteta will actually rest Martinelli and play Aubameyang on the weekend anyway. So, you know, I just think it's a good problem to have. You see with Man United, Pogba gets benched and then he comes back in. And like I said, Aguero. And, you know, I just think it's good to have that competition and give Aubameyang that thing that, listen, you know what? You're not guaranteed selection, even though what you've done, we need to know what you're doing. You know how it is in football, man. People don't care what you did last week. It's what are you going to do this week? So it may give him that little bit of extra hunger. Well, at least I hope that's the reaction that he has from it anyway, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you are right. Like you said, no one should have a divine right to get in the team. We know he signed a new contract recently. And presumably one thing that wasn't in the contract is that he should play. I mean, because you hear stories around the world of people having these clauses inserted into contracts where they have to start or at least be in, you know what I mean? But I don't think that's happened in this case. It has been a little worrying. He's declined this season. He's getting a little bit older, but I don't think it's got anything to do with age. I think it's just basically down to a lack of form. It does happen. I mean, I've seen strikers, like you said, Aguero, Harry Kane, you know what I mean, other players. I mean, Shearer, when he went numerous games without scoring. But the difference was the manager stuck with them. And then when they started scoring again, it was almost forgotten that they went through the bad run. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's a difficult situation and one that is going to require very careful management by Arteta. So what would you do then for the games coming up?
I mean, look, we've got games in a short space of time, so you know he's going to start one or two of these next few games because the turnaround's so quick. You know, I don't see Martinelli playing every game. You know, Lacazette was dropped against Brighton. I didn't think he should have, but so you know, Aubameyang has started a game this week, and he had one very good chance, the one that Saka crossed to him, and the one that you mentioned where he tried to curl it. So, I mean, he has started and he did look a little rusty. I think he does need a few games to play his way back into form. So he'll get game time. I don't think there's a problem. Like, even if he don't start this game, I think he'll start the one after. And then it's just a case of putting in the performance. So I think he'll be fine. He'll be in the team at some stage.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope you're right. But I'd like to go back to the people watching the show. What do you guys think? I mean, Curtis seems to, well, doesn't seem to. He said unequivocally that, you know what I mean, Lacazette has to start the next couple of games because you can't drop him. Now, you know, I can see where you're coming from on that, but I'm saying that, well, I guess I'm saying I'd like to see Aubameyang feature at some point. I don't think he should be cast aside anytime soon. Not that you're saying that, Curtis, but
yeah.
I think I'd like to see him play, man, even if it's out on the left and then you have Martinelli come on later if things are not quite working around, switch it around a bit. But I think the big man has to play. You know what I mean? That's my personal opinion. He's our best player, as I've said previously, and I'll say it again. He's up until this season anyway, he was our talisman. He's our iconic player. And look how much we all fought and strived and wanted him to sign a new contract. And here we are, you know, 16 games into the new season, and people, not yourself, Curtis, but some people out there want him out, want him gone.
No, I wouldn't go that far.
I'm saying keep that respect on the big man's name, man, and let him play himself back into form. Okay, if we start with him and things are not quite working out, then yes, you might have to bring him on and make some changes and make the adjustments. But I don't want to see this man cast aside anytime soon, man. I think he's way too big for that, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, that was an interesting debate there. And like I said, I'd love to know what the fans think and the people watching this show. What are your thoughts on it? Let us know, man. Interested. Right, okay, moving on then. So, as we know with the Premier League, the games come thick and fast. And this weekend, got another big game, man. Big game coming up against West Brom. New manager recently, Sam Allardyce. He likes to talk. You know what I mean? He's said a couple of weeks ago that Arsenal were alongside West Brom and a few other teams in the relegation battle. I wonder if he still feels the same way now. I mean, he did have a good result recently against Liverpool, but then a few days after that, they got absolutely smashed by Leeds. Very much in trouble. I mean, what, they second place with just 8 points. They've only won one game all season and lost 10. Whereas Arsenal, like we said, coming off the back of 2 wins, feel good factors coming back. The young guys have really, made everyone start believing again. Curtis, what do you think, man, with this game?
Listen, this can't be anything other than a win. There can't be anything else. They've just lost 5-0. Whether that 5-0 defeat helps us or not, is that just killed their confidence and we go there and turn them over? Or are they going to do, what did Klopp say? I've never seen a team play 6-4-0, he said. So we might see more of that 6-4-0. So listen, we need to go there. I think if we can score a goal in the first half, because they then can't put everyone behind the ball, they're going to have to do something.
I think they will.
You think they'll just keep them? Yeah, because to be clear, Klopp said they never came out. Yeah.
They won't change.
No, I think if we go 1-0 up early, I think their heads will drop again. You've just lost 5-0. Go 1-0 down quick. I hope we make this a comfortable victory. I'd love to see us, just go there and turn them over. I've watched them a few times this year, West Brom. I got to be honest, I think they're getting relegated. I got to be honest. I think Big Sam's took a job on there that he shouldn't have taken.
I think it's got to be a win. Get back in the game, wasn't he? Really?
He probably just wanted to, yeah, but I think this will actually damage his reputation, this one. I think we'll beat him. I do think we'll beat him. Confidence is high. I think the youngster, I think it'll be hard. I wouldn't expect no 5-0, because Leeds just tore him to shreds, but I think it'll be a hard game for us. They're a very physical team. They'll make it hard for our young players, but I do think we'll beat them.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I think they will set up very defensively. I heard that against Leeds, they did actually try and engage Leeds for a while. And ultimately, that was their downfall because they just don't have the quality. And they got part ruthlessly by Leeds, who were amazing on the day. But from what I've seen of West Brom this season, I have to say that I've been far from impressed. Yes, they did have that good win. In fact, they've had a couple of, not good win, the draw. Yeah, they had a draw. They had a draw against
Man City
as well. And I think the following game, Slaven Bilic was dismissed from his job. So then Allardyce come in. He got that result against Liverpool. He run his mouth a little bit, I thought there. And then he got a little bit of immediate karma in the following game. And like I said, he's thrown a few comments our way. He's had a good record over the years against Arsenal, hasn't he? Big Sam.
Yeah, man. I remember them Bolton Wanderers days, man. Kevin Davies just throwing elbows, JJ Kotra and them, man. Jorkaeff. So,
you know what? Anyone even approaching that quality at West Brom?
No. He's just gonna try and spoil the game and be physical and make life difficult. But I think we're gonna beat them. And as I was saying before, these 2 victories that we just had, I'm not really excited about them. We're still 13th. We've still got a big points gap to try and get anywhere. But looking at the West Brom game, if we can win that, that's 3 wins. Obviously, looking ahead after that, we play Newcastle at home. If we can turn that into 4 wins in a row, then I think we can start having conversations about some sort of, clawing something back. But at the moment, I'm not getting too excited, man. Still a long way to go. They need to cancel the parade for now.
Yeah. I think the nominations for manager in a month need to be put on hold. But I'm with you on that. And I do think we're going to beat West Brom. I don't think it's going to be easy. We might have to be a bit patient and keep believing in what we're doing and keep pressing. I think playing the young guys again is going to be a big bonus for us, because I think their type of energy and enthusiasm will sap away at West Brom, and I think we will create chances as the game goes on. So I'm fancying a win by a couple of goals, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd
agree with it. I go 2-0. I reckon. I actually think we're going to keep a clean sheet for once.
Well, I mean, this would be, one of those games where you would back us to keep a clean sheet, because it's not like West Brom have been prolific this season.
No.
I mean, I even saw one of their guys scoring their own goal the other day. That's
man, and he's actually a good player as well. That was terrible. Romain Sawyers.
Yeah.
Awful.
But the only thing is the way, and we've seen it several times this season. As soon as you start counting your chickens in this league,
yeah,
then it can come back to bite you in the bum. And like I said, I saw in the game against Chelsea, I definitely saw before that game started, I looked at the sort of mannerisms and the body language of some of the Chelsea players, and they just struck me as being too complacent.
Yeah.
I think they got a bit of a shock, and then they ended up exiting the Emirates with their tails between our legs. So we don't want a similar scenario to unfold at West Brom. We've got to go there, be professional, put the work in, and I'm sure that there's opportunities throughout the course of 90 minutes plus will arise and we'll get the win. So so we'll bring in the year on a new wave of optimism.
So.
Yeah. Okay, so right. Unless you've got anything you want to add, my friend, we're coming to the end of the show.
No, man, just listen. Happy New Year to yourself and everyone who's been tuning in. Big up everyone for the support, and have a prosperous and happy New Year. And don't forget to check out my channel, Curtis Shaw TV, as well. Yeah, man, that channel's blowing up, man. I'm always on there looking at the content. We've always got some great guests. I've seen Kevin Campbell on there the other day, man. You're doing your thing, man. You're doing your thing. Man, respect, bro.
That's been one of the highlights for me as well as doing this show, is seeing how your channel's grown and seeing how you've grown in the consciousness of people, man. So it's excellent work. Keep on going, man. Keep on doing.
Yeah, man. Thanks, bro.
And to all the people out there supporting the show, man, listen, man, I'm so humbled and appreciative of the fact that you tuned into the show, shown us your support. Some of the comments you guys have sent us have been really encouraging. Myself and Curtis often speak and we talk about, how much people have appreciated the show, and it's a real big thing for us. So keep it coming, man. In 2021, we've got some ideas we're working on for the show format and stuff like that. Guests, we're going to try and introduce a few little things to make things different. But in the meantime, man, keep sending us your comments. Please be interactive and keep supporting. Like, share, subscribe. Don't do anything too silly tonight. Observe the rules. Hope you're all well, healthy, safe, and COVID-free. And we'll see you very soon. There you go.
It's Robbie here from AFTV. Don't forget to check out AFTV on Flick for all the latest transfer rumours, for all the information on Arsenal, for all the information on AFTV. You can check me there for Q&As on a regular basis. The link is in the description. It is free to download. Download it right now.